All right, let's try that again. It's just like perfect how it's a perfect showing of how the world is right now, how things are so crazy and chaotic with it that the live stream just booted me off of YouTube. So I don't know what happened there, but we should be okay now. So I had to start another one and this and that. So this is probably the third live stream of it. But spoiler warning, obviously, for the Walking Dead show, comics, all that stuff. So sorry, man. We're still going to go to 2 o'clock. It's 1:11 as I make this video now. So we'll go for about another 10 minutes or 20 minutes or so. And then we'll talk about some spoilers for season 10, episode 12. But so hopefully you guys saw the previous stuff that I talked about, that the world is kind of shutting down, the situation of production, of movies, of films, of everything, of TV shows. There's going to be no Talking Dead tonight, which stinks because I liked watching it. And I watched last week's, and I don't know if they had, they had a quiz, but I don't think they had a Talking Dead quiz where you could win something on there. I don't know what's up with that, but it was just Norman Reedus and Greg Nicotero were supposed to be were the guests last week. And it's just one of those things where I love watching The Walking Dead and then Talking Dead to learn some stuff on there too. I was definitely excited to see, because it was going to be Tom Payne and then 2 guests, so we don't know who the guests were, and hopefully it gets answered, and it kind of stinks that maybe it's because people can't fly or people can't do certain things. I don't know, but either way, The Walking Dead, let's talk about season 10 so far. So we had season 10, episode 9, 10, and 11, and then episode 12, came out on Friday. If you have AMC Premiere or watched it leaked or watched it, I don't know, man, coming out the last thing of it for, just the ratings were down. The ratings were definitely down for, lower than 3 million people. I don't know why that's a thing, why it happens, but AMC Premiere numbers aren't probably reflecting that. I'm not sure what it is, but ultimately I'm enjoying watching it early. AMC Premiere is pretty cool. I have not watched Better Call Saul season 5, but that's something that I want to watch down the road. And we're actually watching something else on HBO called McMillions, the Monopoly game pieces on the McDonald's food, and it's pretty interesting. It's definitely one of those things where I'm excited to see how it ends and to see what the deal was that. But if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, and 2001 I think was the last time they really did Monopoly like that. I think they did it a couple years later, but it was a big thing where you thought you could win, and you're like, man, it was one of those things where it was rigged through, I don't want to give too much away, definitely watch the documentary, but you didn't have a chance of winning the big prizes, we'll just say that. But ultimately, The Walking Dead is a community that I love being a part of, and I love talking about it because I like being a part of this idea of, if a zombie apocalypse started or some post-apocalyptic world started, what would you do? And, with the way the world is going right now, I don't know what's going to be the future of government and travel and, quarantines and stuff. But hopefully we get this stuff under control, and hopefully cold and flu season ends usually April, May, and hopefully we can continue rolling that way. But the productions of things like Combo Breaker 99, so did Fear the Walking Dead start filming and just get postponed? They've been filming for a while. They're probably about halfway through the season, if not a little more than half. So I'm not sure if it was season 6, episode 9 or 10 or what it is, because it's supposed to be 16 episodes. But Fear the Walking Dead shutting down. Walking Dead, that hasn't started yet. Walking Dead is pre-production. Those meetings, those things, the writers, they can still video chat, talk on the phone, talk with Angela Kang, do all that stuff. They can still have meetings. Angela Kang said in an interview that they can still do things in a high level of getting stuff written for season 11. And I think they will. I think season 11 will be on track. Will be one of those things where I know that season 11 is going to be starting to film around early May, probably, late April, early May, they usually start filming. So we're March 15th as I make this video. A month away is April 15th. Then you still have another couple weeks. Then, if they report end of April, early May, then you can start filming. But I hope that it makes sense for people to be safe. They resume filming, not just this production, but other productions. things for Disney Plus, things for Netflix, things for stuff that, other shows that I watch. Stranger Things season 4, they were supposed to be filming. Walking Dead should be coming up filming. Fear the Walking Dead. Walking Dead World Beyond, that's been done, ready to go come April 12th. So we'll see how it goes. But sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. Not sure what's going to happen with it. But I don't know, people. So guys, don't post any spoilers in the chat for another, 10 minutes at least, because when I say spoilers, then we can go on through it. Not everybody has seen it, and I hate for people to be spoiled, but it's just crazy. People have pictures, they're posting them on Instagram without spoiler warnings, they're posting them on Facebook, because some pretty big stuff happens in the episode. And season 10, episode 12 is a very good episode. Season 10 so far has been great. The first half, the second half, it's been a great season overall. And from what I'm hearing, that the last couple episodes are a great way to set up season 11, and that's what you want to see. Now, if you saw the promos and you saw the thing for season 10, episode 13, you know that it's Michonne's. I'm going with last episode. We don't know 100%, but it seems to be that it's going to be her last episode, and it's going to be pretty much about her. The promo looks pretty good. It gives some things away, but not a lot of things away. I have my breakdown of it. I'll post that either later tonight or tomorrow, because it's pretty cool to think about what's going to happen with everything with the franchise. But I just hope that Michonne lives on and she is connected with Rick down the road. So Dr. Smarty Pants, my guy, my prediction is RJ is the future of the Walking Dead franchise. So that's an interesting take. I really hope that you'll see in this episode, season 10, episode 12, but we saw it previously in a couple episodes and everything there too, that we have a big group of kids in The Walking Dead. And could that be the future of the show? Could it go beyond the show of, The Walking Dead? Like what if Daryl, what if we go past the comics? What if we go past everything? Which we could. Eventually, The Walking Dead wants to be its own show, its own thing. Maybe, the CRM Commonwealth story arc does its own thing. But I don't know the future of it. I think that Judith is going to be a big part of the future. It just makes sense. The future of it could be RJ, Gracie, Judith, Herschel. If Lydia's still around, I don't know, because the future of the show needs to be with the younger cast, because I think Daryl Dixon will be a part of it. Norman Reedus loves being that type of character. He is part of the Walking Dead family, and he's a big part of it too. So I think that's a big thing going with it. So let me see some of the questions here. You guys are posting good questions. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. Combo Breaker 99. So Michonne is only in one episode this whole season. This half of the season, she was in 4 episodes the first half of season 10. Remember, we had the first half of season 10, but the second half of season 10 is upon us now. So they probably filmed it out of order. They probably filmed it so long ago. So yes, that makes sense that The Walking Dead filmed the Michonne stuff earlier. And I'm sorry, Milo's sleeping on the sofa right over there. But yeah, I know that we got a bunch of things coming up for Michonne next week, and I'll be talking about that and a bunch of different pictures, a bunch of different videos coming up. So Coral Carney 372, Bri, have you heard episode 15's title? Yes, that's the Tower, I believe. So we'll see. The Tower is something that, if you know the comics, you know why that's important, but I don't know how it's going to be. And I think we're still going to get one more battle this season. We had the Battle of Hilltop, and we're going to get the battle probably about Alexandria. Dr. Smarty Pants. By the way, stay safe, and do you watch Ride? I watch Ride somewhat. I'm not the biggest Ride fan, but he has some great guests. I do want to watch the episode with Ryan Hurst, who plays Beta on the show, and he was Opie on Sons of Anarchy and a bunch of different other movies, and he was in Remember the Titans. But ultimately, I think that Ride is a good show. It's a good filler show. It's a good fill in the gap show. I'd rather watch Better Call Saul, but Ride with Norman Reedus, it depends on the guests. I watched the first episode, which is with Merle, Michael Rucker, and it's pretty cool because they go from Alabama, where Michael Rucker is from, to Sonoy, and it's pretty awesome too. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm reading some of the chat on there. Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe on there too. I love the word social distancing. Like keep your social distance. I guess that's what you got to do too. So, Renee says, Bri, last week's ride was really good. Who was the guest with? Renee, who was the guest with Norman on that? I'll have to check it out online because I missed it, and maybe I can get through the app. But either way, I definitely would check it out. And I like to see where they go. I think Ryan Hurst and Norman Reedus, they go to Japan. And I think that's where you see Hideo Kojima, who, if you know some video games, you know about that guy. So, John Graham writes, hey, Bri, ever thought of doing a reaction video while Walking Dead is on? I have, but I'm not a big fan of reaction videos. I think people over-exaggerate their opinions and their reactions. They're like, no, don't do it. Like it's just acting. There's people that love to do it. They're over the top, like, yeah, yeah. I watch the show a lot of times, and I'm not over the top like that. I'm not one of those people that are just going to be like, oh, yeah, no, oh, no, don't you, oh, my goodness, that's just not me, how I watch it, too, so. But I'm excited to talk about Season 10. Thank you, Athena Brewer, for the super chat, and Dr. Smarty Pants for the super chat. It's always welcome for super chats and Patreon donations, and just picking up the book series, checking it out. I definitely like the idea for it. So I love the idea of being a part of the Walking Dead universe, but also being a part of the PT channel, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fighters. So when I say fighters, it's people who like my book series, Fight For Us. So I'm definitely excited to be a part of that with you guys. Hopefully you guys like the book series. And if you like the zombie apocalypse genre, movies, TV shows, Walking Dead, stuff like that, you should check it out. It's definitely something that I liked to share with you guys. And it's, my story of the zombie apocalypse tale of, some different things. And it's just pretty cool. I'm just excited to, it's being a writer, author, artist in some way. It's very cathartic to be a part of, letting it out, singing, dancing, drawing, writing, whatever it is. If people write it or see it or not, it's good just to get it out of your, body system on paper and, on YouTube or whatever, because I know that you got to have outlets. You got to have different things. And hopefully you guys have that, but, be careful right now because the world is in a crazy spot too. So we'll go for another couple minutes before we talk about Season 10, Episode 12. But hopefully you guys enjoy the episode if you've seen it. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's episode. But I've liked it so far. And, people love to say that I'm hard on Fear the Walking Dead. And I am. But it's just like The Walking Dead is like so good and so entertaining. And the actors and the characters you care about. And other parts of the Walking Dead universe, not so much. I'm not trying to be, like, oh man, I don't nitpick things just to nitpick them, but I love to watch the show as best as you can in a zombie fictional writing of some sort of realism or continuity of the story, and just stuff that kind of is like, well, that's cheesy or that's stupid or that's dumb or that wouldn't make sense, or why can they do that and why can't they do that, because they did that before and what it is too. So I also saw Kim Dickens wrote she did an interview or something, and she answered like, you never know, Madison could come back, you never know. It's like, don't say that unless Madison's coming back on Fear the Walking Dead. I don't know, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, come on, don't stir the pot and have all these people hoping that the character comes back and they never do. So I don't know for what it is, but some big stuff, man, happens in Season 10, Episode 12, and it's a good episode. So let's go into the spoilers, because I'm super excited to talk about Season 10, Episode 12, and I don't know if the connection's going to be whatever and be lost there too. So let's get into the spoilers. So if you haven't seen Season 10, Episode 12, and you're watching this on replay, don't watch it. Go watch the episode first, because I don't want to ruin it for you. But some pretty big stuff happens. Huge stuff happens, actually. We get some answers. So, spoiler warning, season 10, episode 12. All right? So, I don't want to ruin it for you. Again, season 10, episode 12, spoilers, here we go. It starts off with the battle at Hilltop. It's the same night where we left off previous episode. And I'm really glad that they went into season 10, episode 12. Before, that was supposed to be the Michonne episode. They flipped it to season 10, episode 13 is the Michonne episode, because we'd have had the battle at Hilltop and Daryl and the Flames and then Michonne. Would have been great to see Michonne and what happens there, but we wanted to know what happened at Hilltop. And now we get to see that this episode. So I'm excited to see what happens after this battle, because Hilltop is pretty tore up. It's got fire damage. It's got, the back walls have come down. The Barrington house is not destroyed, but they're going to have to rebuild. And they're going to be able to rebuild, Hilltop and the Barrington house and the supports and the beams and the entrance and all that stuff. They're going to be able to do that. And that's probably going to be a big part of season 11. I don't know, Maggie doesn't come back in this episode, but I can imagine when she comes back and she's like, what the heck happened here, right? Because Hilltop is forever changed, probably at least for, there too. So Chris Wallace asks, who do you think will get the water tower death? Who would you make it be? I always thought it'd be Gage or Father Gabriel, but the water tower death is from the comics, and I don't know if it's going to happen. We have that title for season 10, episode 15, the tower, but I don't know if that's going to be actually connected with that or not. Maybe it's a red herring. Maybe it's just people thinking about there too. So, Jay Kennedy, do you still think Michonne finds out about Rick? I'm not sure. I'm not sure either. I just hope so, for sure. So, Dr. Smarty Pants, will you review World Beyond, please? Love you. Definitely. I'm gonna talk about World Beyond, and I'm actually excited about that episode. Some people don't like the episode or the series because of the kid aspect and this aspect, but connecting with CRM, connecting with the show, connecting with the universe, connecting with The Walking Dead somehow, some way, shape, form. I'm excited to talk about it, but I'll definitely talk about World Beyond and Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and of course Walking Dead. But okay, let's talk about the season 10, episode 12. So the battle at Hilltop's raging on. The opening minutes, you can see it. You can see it on YouTube on there as well. But walkers are getting in. They're fighting with the shields. They're doing this. Daryl's using his Morningstar flail or Morningstar mace or whatever you want to call it, the mace with the ball and chain, and he's like pow, 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 taking out walkers and taking out whisperers, because whisperers get inside Hilltop. They take some people out, and Kelly takes out a whisper and Daryl takes out a whisper, and they do this. And Yumiko has her bow and arrow, and she's slinging arrows, and Daryl's taking out walkers, and they're doing this, and Lydia's taking out walkers, and it's big moments. You see people, you see this, you see Jerry, you see that, and then you see Carol's taking out walkers. But that's the opening minutes. That's really not the biggest spoilers. But what is a big spoiler? Again, spoilers, is that Yumiko she has an arrow, and they focus on her. She loads an arrow in, and she puts it there, and then she sees, who do you think she sees? Magna. Not Connie and Magna, just Magna. And Magna has stuff on her face. I don't know if it's the guts trick or the bloody guts trick or the dirt trick or whatever, but either way, she's walking among the horde. She doesn't have a Whisperer skin mask on. She's walking by herself. So she got out of the cave. I don't know what's going to happen with Connie, because Connie's not there. We see Magna and Yumiko throughout the episode in a couple parts, but no Connie. So you're like, that's kind of weak, right? Magna later on, because after the battle at Hilltop, it's night and then day. And then when it starts at day, you see Negan take out a King Topper who's still alive, but he's badly burned and he's still alive. And Negan takes him out, and Alpha's like, through the heart, because she wants more Guardians. She wants more Walkers. And she doesn't want Negan to take out the people, and and they're suffering. So that's a big tell, kind of where Negan's head is a little bit. But before that, the last thing at night I want to talk about is Lydia takes out a walker, Gamma, Mary says, don't go outside. You know what Alpha wants. And Lydia says, I'll never walk with her. Never. She's not going to join the Whisperers, right? So that Ezekiel has the kids to walk out towards there to escape, but he doesn't have Judith. He's like, where's Judith? Judith takes out them Whisperers and then stabs someone behind her. She thinks that it's a walker, but it turns out it's a Whisper. Is it a guy, girl? I'm not really sure. But, it's the first time Judith has to kill a person, not a walker. So it's definitely a big deal. Mark asks, Q&A, Bri, did you have Carol as the one who released Negan? I thought it was between Daryl and Carol, and I thought that Carol made more sense, and we'll get to that. Don't worry, we'll get to that. But either way, night becomes day. Negan takes out the person that was on fire or was like a badly burned. Alpha says through the heart next time to turn the person into a walker. I don't know how they could live without a heart, but either way, it's a walker, and he takes her out. Alpha and Negan talk. They're trying to Lydia is what Alpha wants. Alpha wants Lydia. Negan knows that. Beta comes over and says that's not your concern. That Alpha is concerned about Lydia, and Beta knows that. And Negan, he has his little funny lines with Beta and says, all right, Frowny McTwo-Knives. It's pretty funny from the comics. And then Beta tells Negan to gather up walkers. He goes away and he says, he's such a dick. And it's pretty funny. Beta is definitely a good villain. He's a big character, not just this episode, but for the Whispers. Daryl escapes and everybody kind of scatters. Daryl, Jerry, Rosita, they go one way. They're somewhere else. Carol, Eugene, Magna, Yumiko are somewhere else. Alden, Kelly, and Mary are somewhere else. And Adam, because they have the baby Adam. Earl takes the kids, Judith, and everything. They escape. So people are kind of scattered, and we don't really see people kind of get together at all. So we see that Negan, when he's going in the woods to gather walkers, he sees Lydia, who's wounded, and she's using her, bow staff as a cane to walk, and she goes into the woods. Negan goes after her to either help her or kidnap her, but we find out later it's to take her away, kind of kidnap her, but put her in a safe area. It's a safe way of doing it. He protects Lydia. On his way after Lydia, he runs into Aaron, which is the sneak peek clip. Aaron has Luke on a piece of metal from Hilltop, and he's dragging him away to safety, kind of like a stretcher. Luke has a gash or a thing on his head, but he's passed out. Negan comes and he sees Aaron. Aaron's like, whoa, why shouldn't I kill you? And he wants to take out Negan, but Negan, has a Whisperer mask on, and somehow the walkers just walk right past Negan. They don't even worry about Negan. It's, like I said, an invisibility leather jacket or an invisibility cloak. And Father Gabriel, he's not in this, sorry. Aaron, he has to take out the walkers, and then Negan runs away after Lydia. He actually catches up to Lydia and kidnaps her and takes her. And you think okay, what side is Negan on? We're not sure, right? Because it's still at the point where is he actually going to bring Lydia to Alpha, or Lydia, is he trying to help her? And we don't know just yet. And then, there's different parts and different things. And then the next part is Carol, it's with Alden, who has Adam, Kelly, and Gamma. And they're walking. And it reminds me a lot of The Grove with Tyrese, Carol, Judith, Lizzie, and Minka. Just how they're walking a little bit. And then Adam is crying. And Mary says, give me him, let me try to calm him down. And Alden's like, you'll never see this baby, you'll never do this. And Kelly's like, look, just let her try. She's not going to hurt the baby, And you feel for Kelly, you feel for Adam, and you feel for Alden. But I just know that it's one of those things where I like Gamma a lot, and Gamma finally gets some trust with Alden. Alden gives Gamma or Mary the baby, Mary, calms Adam down. It's a nice moment. It's a nice thing. They sit down and they talk. Mary talks about Frances, her sister, who was the mother of Adam. They have a nice moment, they have a nice thing, and Alden starts to trust Mary. As they're sitting and talking, Mary can sense and hear and can kind of feel the walkers coming towards them. So Mary says, we got to go. They get surrounded. They get trapped. They find this really abandoned van that is like parked in a weird way. Like, I don't know where this was driving, where it was, what kind of road it was, but either way, it's tucked in a way. They're trying to get the door open. It's the classic horror stuff. Like, are they going to make it? Are they going to make it? Kelly gets in. Alden gets in. Mary hands Adam to Alden. Mary closes the door and realizes that they would just be trapped in the van if she went in there, right? So she yells and attracts the walkers away from the van. Alden is mad and frustrated, and it's kind of a nice moment. So you see that Mary helps them. Mary is someone that's trustworthy. Mary is someone that's trying to look after Adam, for sure. So, Jackie, thank you. Welcome to Level 1 PT Peep. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate that. We truly do. So, pretty cool stuff. I love my PT Peeps. And then we got, I think it goes to Carol, Eugene, Magna, and Yumiko next, because it jumps around a little bit, but once it goes to them, it kind of where it is. And I think the episode is 43 or 44 minutes, and it flies by. It goes by so quick. It's so entertaining. It's so good. It's so great. But during the opening sequence, Eugene ran back up to the Barrington house that was on fire, by the way, to see that if he can get the radio. And he's in the woods and he's trying to get the radio back together, but it's just burned up and it's not really going to work, right? So Carol is walking past Eugene, they're in the woods and they're trying to do this. Carol goes over to Magna and Yumiko. And Yumiko is talking with Magna, and Magna's like, we tried to get out of the cave and we did this and we were searching, we were moving, we were searching. Next thing you know, we were in the horde and they came out. And she says that she was holding Connie's hand in the horde, and they were walking and they got separated. Now, I don't know if it's a lie or if it's the truth or what it is, but Magna's there and Connie is not. So I don't know if they both got out of the cave or separated or what, but that's what Magna says. Yumiko and Magna are talking, and Carol comes over and says, or she kind of acts like she's gonna leave. And that pisses Yumiko off. She's been through a lot. She may take some time. And Carol says, well, I want to get back soon, before dark. I guess get back to Alexandria, or if they were going to Oceanside or where they were going. But that pisses Yumiko off. Yumiko gets right in her face and they have an argument, blah, blah, blah. Yumiko punches Carol in the face. And then they go to Eugene and he's like, whoa. And Carol gets upset. Carol leaves the group. Yumiko and Magna talk, and Magna's like, I didn't ask you to do that. And they have an argument, and they say this and that, and it's kind of a big thing. They end up breaking up, but it's amicable. It's in the right thing, and they have little funny jokes like, I've had better sleep because of you, and Magna's like, I don't snore, and Yumiko's like, it's kind of a funny thing, but they break up, basically. Carol walks away, sits on a big log or fallen tree, and Eugene comes over to Carol. Carol says, they talk about, you ever been in a situation where everybody hates you? And that's basically how Carol is right now. Everybody hates Carol. Every decision Carol has made has been hurting the group. It's been not a good situation. A lot of fans don't like Carol right now. So that's probably a shout out to the fans who don't like Carol. Eugene's like, yes, I have actually. And Eugene sits down next to Carol and they talk about kind of the Stephanie situation, but Eugene says things in a way that he doesn't give too much away. So in their conversation, Eugene is like, look, I got a meeting coming up of everything. And it's funny because he uses all these big words. And Carol's like, I got it. A big meeting. Okay. It's pretty funny. It's nice interaction with Carol and Eugene. And I can't recall a time that we had Eugene and Carol talk on the show. And it's actually really nice. Carol gives some advice to Eugene, and Eugene's like, well, I can't go to the meeting now because of, the meeting, or because Hilltop got tore up, right? And so Carol is talking with Eugene, and Eugene's like, I can't go. And Carol's like, Yeah, you can. It's simple. If it's important, you go. And Eugene's like, all right, I like you, Carol. Thanks for the heads up. So then Eugene's clearly going to go meet Stephanie at some point. Well, we already knew that because we saw the pictures and part of the trailer. We know that Eugene, Yumiko, and Ezekiel are going to go to look for Stephanie or meet Stephanie. Maybe they run the princess, and it should be good stuff. And I think that's going to be episode 14, I'm guessing. So they talk. Eugene walks away. Carol, well, before that, it's a funny part. Carol sits on the log, and there's a walker that reaches up like slowly out of the dirt, and it's been there for a while, and the leaves are covering the person. And it's interesting because the symbolism between the walker, it's like half white, half black, half dirty, half clean, half like part of it's been exposed from the thing. You can see it's like a clear divide of like dirt and clean because it's been underground for or like it's weird. It looks like a yin yang or something. It's kind of it's a weird situation, and with the symbolism, I'm not sure. So reaches up for Carol. Carol smacks the hand away. Reaches up again, smacks the hand away. And then Carol looks and contemplates, maybe I should die. Maybe I should turn into a walker and become bit. And then she takes out the walker. She's like, nah, I ain't going to do that. And that's before she talks with Eugene. But after they talk, she gets up, she walks in the leaves, and she finds Lydia's bow staff. So she was at the same point that Negan kidnapped Lydia before, right in the same area in the woods. What are the odds of that? I don't know, but it is. So, and then I think the next part, it goes to Daryl. And you see Daryl, Rosita, Nabila, Jerry, Diane, a bunch of other people, and my guy Jerry. My guy Jerry's in the back, or Jerry. My guy Jimmy's in the back. Jerry's there too. But my guy Jimmy, he doesn't have a name on the show, but he's been a savior. He's been a couple of different things, but he's in the back of it. And look for my guy Jimmy. That's his real name in real life, Jimmy. And they're walking, and they're supposed to go to the rendezvous point to meet up with the kids. But the kids aren't there in that house. And Ezekiel is supposed to have the kids, but Ezekiel doesn't have the kids. Earl has the kids. It's Earl, Judith, RJ, Gracie, and Jerry's kids, and a bunch of kids there too. And they're not in the rendezvous point house. That's what the big part of this episode is. It's like they're supposed to be at this point, and they're not there. They're supposed to be in this cabin or shack, and they're not there. It happens a couple of different times, right? Which it's, misdirection, which is okay. So the thing of it is that Daryl, Rosita, Nabila, Jerry, there's the thing there too where Nabila is asking about her kids. And that's what Rosita says, but Rosita doesn't say her name right. She's like, Nabila. She doesn't really say her name clearly, but it's Nabila, that's Jerry's wife. And so Jerry and Nabila, they don't have their kids. They're with Earl, supposed to be Ezekiel, but Ezekiel's not around. They go to the house where they're supposed to be meeting up. There's only a walker in there, no kids. Freaks out Nabila and everybody, and they're supposed to find the kids on there too. But before that, Nabila says it feels like it's still burning. So I feel like Nabila got burned. I feel like Nabila could be in danger. She survives this episode, but if she has bad burns, and I don't know where the doctor is, if Dr. Alex survived or what, so we'll have to see because there's not too many medical professionals there as well, too. So they go to the house. The kids aren't there. Jerry and Daryl go back to Hilltop because they have to find somebody. Ezekiel's there underneath the fallen, back supports and the back covers of the metal grates or the metal sheets. He gets up and he's like, Earl's got the kids. So then we see Earl and the kids and Judith and, everything. Earl's taking care of everybody. They're in the same shack or same cabin thing that Henry took Lydia to before. Henry was there with Addie, Gage, and they were there before, but it's the same place, right? So they have that whole thing. But also, thank you, Renee, for writing Thora Birch to kind of switch me out. Before all that, sorry, I'm jumping around. As I remember, I'm trying to remember that too. But Alden, so the Alden part with Kelly and Adam, they're stuck in the van. Mary runs away, makes the walkers come follow her. She kills the walkers, and she's safe. And she looks up, and she sees the sun. And she's like, yeah. And she turns, and then she's stabbed in the stomach. By who? Beta. Beta has his knife in her, says, "You're gonna walk with us." And then Mary fights and claws and scratches at Beta, rips his mask, like the top part of his mask off, so you can see part of his face. And you can see that's Ryan Hurst, if you know what Ryan Hurst looks like. But it's not like the biggest giveaway. It's not like his whole mask comes off. It's a little piece, a little piece. So Thora Birch, who plays Mary in Gamma, pretty cool, pretty great. She's stabbed though, and then she rips off the piece of his face, and he stabs harder and kind of moves his knife up and kills Mary. Drops her to the ground, puts her over on a tree, heads up, waits for her to turn. Another whisperer comes around and says to Beta, "It's you." Like that whisperer knows who Beta is, who he was before the start of it, before the zombie apocalypse. The Beta does the shh and then kills the whisperer. And the whisperer goes, "It's you. I thought I recognized your voice." So he knew who Beta was. That really pisses Beta off, and Beta kills the whisperer. You're like, what are you doing, right? Beta, he picks up the piece of the mask. Maybe he's going to try to fix it or whatever, because we know who the big deal is with the mask. So, new Rat Pack, new to the channel, but just curious, have you heard anything regarding episode 13? It's Michonne's last episode is what I'm going with, so we'll see what happens there, too. TDH2, but it's been answered a bunch of times. PT stands for a bunch of different things. Party time, physical therapy, part-time, physical therapist, just, positive thinking, a bunch of different things. So not sure where you've been for that, but you've been a subscriber for a while, and I've answered it several times with it too. So Gamma dies. She becomes a walker. For some reason, Beta waits there for her. And I guess he's going to take her back to show that he actually got Gamma as part of the walkers. She's going to walk with him. So Gamma becomes a walker. She gets up and does her thing. It's actually Thora Birch. She's got the contacts in, and she's like stumbling and becomes the walker thing and does that. So gets up, walks towards Beta, and Beta's looking at her, and then whoosh, arrow right to the head. Boom, dead. They pan to who shot it. It's Alden and Kelly, who were holding Adam. They got out of the van. Alden loads another arrow. Beta runs away. And you're like, what are you doing? You should have shot Beta. Gamma's not going anywhere. You should have just shot Beta. But Beta runs away, lives for another day. But Alden took out Walker, Gamma, Mary, whatever you want to say. So that's that. Sorry, I jumped over that part. But that's a big part, and it's a sad part because I liked Gamma, Mary, Thora Birch. But that's what they do. They make you like the character, and then they kill them off. Then we go back to, I jumped around a little bit. I apologize, but thank you for the heads up about that. So we lost Gamma and Mary's gone. Then we go to Earl, Judith, and the kids. Earl's taking care of the kids, and, Judith asks, do you think Ezekiel's okay? And there was so much smoke, and we didn't have, and the fire, and everyone got away, but, Ezekiel didn't. We find out that Ezekiel's underneath some rubble or underneath the metal sheets, and he's okay, too. He survived. I don't know about Marco and, Oscar and, a bunch of other Birdie and people like that. We don't see them if they survived or not. We don't see them as walkers or whatever. So hopefully those people got away too. We don't see them, but we're not sure. But Earl is like trying to take care of the kids, but he looks terrible. He looks like something like he's dying, and he actually is. So he gives the kids water. He's like, okay. He closes the blankets to be over there. He goes over to a thing. He's like struggling. He looks really, really pale and really, terrible. And he hammers in a spike or a railroad spike or a railroad tie or something like a big piece of steel in the table. He should have done it through the top, through the bottom, because it's going to fall through. Because what he's going to do is that he's going to hammer in the bottom of the table, and then it's going to stick out. And he's going to kill himself because he's a walker. And you see that he's bit on the forearm. So instead of chopping his arm off, he's going to take himself out. So he's got the spike in there, and he's looking at it, and Judith comes in. And Judith's like, you lied to us. And he's like, no, I protected you. I did it to protect you. And, he didn't want to say that, he was a walker and all that stuff too. And Judith's like, look, I'll stay with you so you don't have to be alone. And it's a nice touching moment because Earl's like, I'm not alone. I have my wife and my son. He means Tammy and his son that died, in season 9. And it's like, oh man, Earl, you kind of feel for him a little bit. But that's what they do. They give the characters some more screen time and some more stuff. And you're like, okay, I like this guy. But he's bit, so he's going to die either way. He's going to become a walker or he's going to take himself out, right? So, yeah, John Graham wrote that Eugene line about a cherry cheesecake to the face was hilarious. That's after Yumiko punches Carol in the face. And he's like, oh, man. But Scoob, I'd bet, what do you think happened to Connie exactly? Do you think we'll get to see some scenes of what happened after collapsing the cave? I think she got out and she'll be safe, or she's still there. I'm not sure, but I think she'll be saved. We'll see her again. Maybe Dog rescues her or something, but I think she's safe. I hope we get stuff answered. I hope it gets answered. But either way, Earl tells Judith to go back in there and to protect the kids, and take him out if necessary, because he's going to stay in there and take himself out. But if he can't do it, Earl says, you're so strong, Judith, and he's got words of encouragement. He's a nice guy. He's a good father type figure and a nice man. And he looks at the bolt thing, the steel, and he's like going to look at it. And then he and you hear like he's going to go towards it and like stab himself in the head and take himself out. And then it cuts away. Then they do the whole thing where he got cut in the head, but it didn't go through his head and there's all this blood. But he's sitting there with his arm stretched out and he's like, ugh. And Judith comes and checks him. And then he grabs her eye, and then, Judith, takes him out. But on the way there, you have Jerry, Ezekiel, and Daryl are walking back to the other place. They know where the kids should be now. They open the door, and as soon as Daryl opens the door, all the kids run out except for Judith. And Judith is there sitting with her sword in her lap. Judith had a rough day, for sure. I mean, she killed a whisper. She didn't know it was a whisper. She killed some walkers and a whisper and a person, and then she had to take out Walker Earl, who was, a part of their group, a friend of hers, a person that's there, right? So she's sitting there. Daryl takes her sword out of her hands, sits next to her, puts his arm around her, and is there for her. And it's a good scene. It's a nice, touching scene, but it's like, all right, we got to get out of there. You don't know how the walkers and whisperers are around there, because I would assume that cabin shack thing is close to Hilltop, because that's where Henry and the kids went before. And then we come to Negan and Alpha. And they're talking in the woods. And this is where the episode gets great. And I think it's like the last 4 or 5 minutes or so, maybe even 3 minutes. And they're talking. And, Negan tells Alpha he found that thing you're looking for, meaning Lydia. Then we see Lydia tied up on a chair in a cabin shack type of thing. She's a prisoner. Negan got her. And Negan and Alpha are talking, and they're talking. Negan talks about his backstory, about Lucille and his wife had pancreatic cancer, and he thought she was still beautiful to the day she died, even when she lost her hair, and as frail as she got, he still was in love with her, and he still loved her, and she lost her hair, and she was probably bald. Kind of saw that in Alpha a little bit, who was bald, and you could see some things there. And they're talking, and he's trying to talk some sense into Alpha to be like, look, all this stuff, the way you see the world, it's all BS, because the way you could do that, and Alpha tells Negan that you're supposed to, lion is supposed to leave the pack or leave the pride and go become a lion, and, the lion cub is supposed to lead and do this, and Alpha tells Negan to go out and really form his own group and do his own thing on there too. And Negan's like, what? The lioness is supposed to take over. Your cub, your daughter is supposed to take over. And Alpha has some weird image weird mindset, like, I'm supposed to take her out. It's her destiny. Just like your wife's destiny, Negan. She died and it was supposed to happen that way. And, it's just this whole weird mindset of Negan's philosophy and Alpha's. But you can see that Negan is definitely trying to talk some sense into Alpha and to be like, look, you're going to kill your own daughter? You would do that? That ain't right. You should not do that. But Alpha's set in her ways, and Alpha's definitely set in her, situation for it. So then they're walking, and they see the cabin, or the shack, or the shanty, or whatever you want to call it. And then you see it where Alpha is looking at the shack, and you don't see inside, but you see Lydia inside a place, and she's all tied up, and she gets her arm free, and she's trying to get out and do this, and then she finally unties her one arm and the other arm and does this and unties herself. But this time you're thinking that Alpha and Negan are walking towards the shack, and Lydia's in there, and you can see where they're going, and it's, supposed to be climactic and one of those big moments like, oh, they're going to get there, and get there. Is she actually in there? Negan stops with Alpha, and Alpha and Negan kiss again. Alpha doesn't have her mask on, so it's a normal kiss. I can just imagine Alpha's breath. It's probably terrible, but but ultimately they're walking towards it. Negan's right behind her, and then Alpha grabs the door handle, and then Lydia grabs the door handle where she's at. Lydia opens the door, Alpha opens the door, and Lydia is at a different cabin, somewhere else, somewhere safe, somewhere not near where they are. Alpha opens the cabin door. She looks in. Nobody's in there. She turns around to Negan, and she looks at Negan like, Negan takes his knife and does the whole thing from the comic book kind of thing, cuts her in the neck, and, takes her out. So Negan takes Alpha out, basically just like the comics. Negan takes that Alpha in the comics. Negan takes that Alpha in the show. He grabs her, slowly lowers her to the ground. Alpha's got all this blood on her face and everything. Negan kisses her again, puts her down, and Alpha dies. Then you see the next scene is a bloody sack that Negan had Alpha's head in. He throws the head in the dirt and leaves, rolls towards somebody, towards the feet of somebody, stops. You see Alpha's head looking up like, and it's a walker head of Alpha. So Alpha's gone, but her head wasn't killed. It's a walker head. Pans up. It's Carol. Carol looks at Negan, says an awesome line of, "Took you long enough." Negan smiles. Carol smiles. End of episode. So it was Carol who let Negan out of the jail cell, set up this whole thing. Negan lived up to the end of the bargain. Negan did it. Carol should be happy now. Alpha's gone, but Beta's still out there. The Whispers are still around. Not sure where Lydia is. Not sure where the groups are. They're kind of still separated. So it's pretty crazy, right? So it's pretty great. And it's awesome. It's great writing. It's great thing. Some people are going to say it's predictable. Some people are going to say that it's this and it's that. Maybe it is, but it's entertaining. So in the episode, we lose Gamma or Mary, whatever you want to call her, Earl, and Alpha. So there's 3 pretty big deaths. The battle at Hilltop wages on at the beginning. There's action. There's suspense. There's comedy. There's everything you need in an episode. And it's great. It's one of the best episodes in a long time. And I did my review of it, and I'll post it later tonight, and I'll have a little more pictures of it and more this and more thing of it. But overall, it's a great episode. And Dr. Smarty Pants, sad Earl dies. It's sad. There's sad moments. There's sad moments with Earl and Judith, with Mary and Alden, and it's sad because when you see Mary talking and you know what's going to happen to her, you're like, oh my God, it's just so sad. And you're like, oh man, Thora Birch does a great job. I think Thora Birch, Ryan Hurst, Samantha Morton, they were great castings. They did a great job in their roles. And I think a lot of people have done great jobs. And I think everybody that's been cast in a part has been great on the show. Maybe the character has not been the best, but ultimately the writing is where you say that. But I think the actors did a great job so far. Renee Q&A, Magna seems to be intentionally written as unlikable. Do you think a redemption arc is ahead for her? I don't know. That's a great question, Renee. I mean, there's not really anything great for Magna. Like, wow, I like that girl. Like, I personally like Yumiko more than Magna. And I think there's going to be a lot of stuff for Yumiko coming up with the Commonwealth, Eugene, being the lawyer aspect. Because in the comics, it's Michonne. In the show, it's Yumiko is the lawyer, and Michonne's leaving, so it could be a whole big thing too. So I'm excited to see where that's going. Maybe Magna has some redeeming qualities, and I hope she does something. Maybe she does something to save Connie. I still think Magna could die. I don't see, we had 3 deaths in this episode, and it's only episode 12. So we have 13, 14, 15, and 16. We have 4 episodes left. So that's a big thing. We could still have some deaths. Magna could be one of them. Maybe she does something heroic. Maybe she does something and she gets taken out. But I don't know. I mean, it's a big thing. So next week's episode is all about Michonne. I have my breakdown of that trailer. I have some theories and discussions and topics there too as well. Like every video that we make is a discussion video. So I always want to hear from you guys. I definitely want to know in the comments. Post on there too. We had some knuckleheads coming back with comments of things and attacking other people here on there too. So people have emailed me. I read the email, and if I don't respond to you, I'm sorry, but I do block the people that have been there too. So you know who we're talking about here, that the person that attacked other people on here and has been a problem in the past has been blocked. So we'll get that going, and I'm sure they'll just make another profile and they'll do whatever, but I just don't understand the facts of that. But ultimately, guys, season 10, episode 12 is great. It's a great episode. It's one of those episodes where I watched it twice already. I watched it once to get the information on there too, plus the spoilers and that, and then I watched, the the episode with my wife. So I could watch it again, and I could definitely be thoroughly entertained. It's awesome, setting some things up for the future of season 10. The fact that Beta is still alive and Alpha is gone probably means that Beta is going to run the Whispers and go to probably attack Alexandria, I guess, because if Hilltop is really tore up, not sure what they're going to do there. I'm not sure when Maggie's going to come back around, how she's going to do things. But ultimately, Michonne next week, season 10, episode 13. And oh man, I am excited for that. It's kind of like bittersweet because it's probably the last episode of Michonne. And if it is, then I just hope she lives on so she's connected with the Walking Dead universe still to go down the road and connect with Rick. I just don't see it not connecting with Rick and CRM with it too. So the Virgil, Michonne, CRM, group angle with it. But I'll have that for you too. The breakdown is, and the whole line of what did you do, I think will be answered in the trailer. I talk about that in another video too. So Crimson Blitz, why didn't Earl use Judas' sword to cut his arm off? Could have lived. That would probably be really difficult to do, to cut your own arm off by yourself. But, they make it look easier. Like anytime that was done, it kind of happens somewhere with, other people, except for Merle, who used the hacksaw to cut his hand off. But I don't know. That's a good question. But either way, it was kind of set up for the character to go and is gone. So I don't know, guys, what's going to be the future of the show down the road, but I'll always share it with you. As soon as I get information, I will share it with you guys. Thank you, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulties for the other 2 live streams, but tonight's episode is really good. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below, and thank you guys for taking the time and being a valued PT Peep, Walking Dead family member, and fighter. Hopefully you're all 3. Check out the book series, Fight For Us. There's a link in the description here, as the proceeds do come back to the channel, as well as the Fight For Us book series. It helps support the channel and what we do here too, and it's also a good story, I believe. I'm really excited about it, and I do love the series. It's on Kindle, so it's cheaper that way if you don't like paperback. But thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. It's about love, support, staying positive, blocking out the haters, but also staying true to yourself. Be safe. Use the hand sanitizer and wash up and do all that stuff too, and just hopefully avoid any spots. That can be what it is, but I think we'll be okay with the current situation in the world. Just give it time. Don't panic. Don't freak out. Don't do anything crazy on there too. I mean, I know people do. The news makes it, be in a certain way, but we should be okay. So many cases in the world, but so many people are recovering too. There's a high recovery rate with this, so we should be okay. It's a virus, so it's going to take some time to get around. So that's a whole separate video that I might do later this week. But be safe, guys. Enjoy tonight's episode, and see ya. See ya.